Okay, so let's start making the scene for this guy to sit in, and then we can start applying the lights and the materials. So, well, first thing, let's make the materials what they're meant to be. So, we control click on color and luminance. Nope, not like this. We go to attributes. We press a little plus sign. It opens another window, which is locked, but we don't need it locked. So now we go to color, we go color luminance, and well, we just untick luminance in this one. Great. This is our cat fur material. Cat fur. And let's take color, luminance, and we drag this gray into this one, and we untick luminance. Where is it? What else do we have? The blue. Oops. We forgot to close this back then. Let's go color, click and drag color luminance, click and drag the blue here, untick luminance. Awesome. Same thing for this is mitts. I think these are our sticks, yep. So wood sticks. Color luminance, drag it over, untick luminance. Awesome. Black material, it's okay, we can just take the color and drag it down to black. Okay, small steps. We have a hypernode on this thing. No? Take this cat mesh. Let's take this object. Hypernodes. Let's make a null object at the bottom here. And let's go select all, except the new null, and drag it into the null, and get the null, hold in the Alt key, put it into the hypernode, and we have a nice smoothed out snowman. As you can see, this thing isn't very smooth right now. This bend here. That's because it's still a cylinder with hat rim. So what we do is we make it editable. We go to point mode, we right click, and we press optimize. There you go, nice soft now. And now we can get our magnet tool and make it look more like that. Base of a head. Oops. It's more organic. Let's get our brush tool. Let's change it to smooth. Smooth the strength down a bit. Okay. Whoops, that made it too small. So let's go repel and go too strong. Let's bring the strength down to like 8%. There we go. Let's go smear again and bring the strength up. That looks about right to me. Maybe let's, where is it? Cut trim. Let's go to the knife tool. Let's add like a cut here. Let's go to the edge mode, scale tool, double click on this one, or UL for loop selection, and scale tool, and scale it out a bit. There we go, wonderful. Okay. Good. Maybe let's have a talk about this. A good thing for this head is let's move our axis to the center of the head. I'll show you how we do that. We get our head. Where's our head? Head. Body head. Okay. So our cat mesh. we need to move, not that mesh, the cat null object. Let's turn on snapping, and let's turn off vertex snapping, turn on axis snap. And now we just move it, there you go, cat axis snap. If you could see it there, it said, there, cat axis snap. And now, when we turn off snapping, we turn off our axis tool, and we can rotate the hat, and it kind of sticks to the head shape. So it's very convenient from that point of view. So we can adjust it without too much trouble. Also, I want to make this hat bigger. Let's just scale the objects inside, and then let's move them down. There we go. And if we keep the null object in place without moving it, we can still there you go. Awesome, much better. Okay, let's make a floor. Make a plane, make it big. I know you can use the floor plane object nowadays, but it's something old school that I'm stuck with. I just make a plane and scale it up because I really don't like this infinite thing. Things shouldn't be infinite. Just feels better. Okay, so yeah, that's my explanation. So let's call this floor, and this is snowman. Okay, let's. This is snow. This is man snow, and double click and call this floor. And let's make a background object, and let's make a new material and give it a gradient, and change this gradient to 2D vertical, and invert knots, and make this material here very light blue, and bring this white thing up, and apply it to the background, and apply this to the floor. And when we hit render, we'll have this thing in the sky. Now it's way too blue, so let's get this blue material again, and let's make it way less saturated. That's better. The floor is still black because we don't have any lights. So let's add a light. By default, my lights have soft shadows, as you can see here, soft shadows. And in details, you have inverse square falloff turned on. It's just the way I like to work. But actually, for the first light, let's turn this one off for a while. We're going to need it in a moment. Let's add an infinite light. Now, as you can see, my infinite light will also have this thing. Infinite lights should have no falloff, and they should have hard shadows. Good. Now, let's move this guy up. Let's rotate him around. Okay, that's better. Now, let's make it smaller. Let's hit render. We're on the right track. Good. Color is 100% white. Now, let's turn on this guy. Let's move him this way, move him up a bit. Sometimes the light won't work, so just move the viewport or scaling, and the light becomes more responsive. No. Sometimes lights just, something's really OpenGL setting. See, it works there, but, oh, there you go. So yeah, just move it around in different viewports until you get what you're looking for. So let's do a quick render here. That looks better for the fill light. Okay. Why is the floor still so yellow? I do not understand. Anyway, we need to make snow material. So let's get our man snow material out. First things first, let's add a bump. Bumps are always good. Add a noise bump. Wrong noise. Click on the noise and click this little arrow here, and if you click here, you get a list of all the noises. And you can scroll through them, of course, that's also a valid way to work. but I prefer to click on this, and you have little previews. So, for example, this, what we have here, turbulence. That looks pretty good. Let's scale it up. Let's also add some specular here. Let's make it smaller. Maybe let's inner it. Maybe scale it out a bit. Reduce the height. Okay, not quite what we want. Let's make it layer, 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 layer. And you'll see when you click on it now, you have the noise layer there, and you can just add layers on top of it. Another noise layer. And let's make it wavy turbulence. Or electric turbulence. No. There's one called wavy, which I like. Gaseous, that's it. Okay. Let's increase the global scale a bit. There you go. See, it's already looking more like snow. Let's move this on top and change the mode to multiply and reduce it. Or maybe make it add. There we go. Yep, add is good. So that's looking good. As you can see there, we can already start to see the snow. So if we hit render, we get a bit of a snow material. It's pretty cool. Snow though has this kind of blue tinge to it, usually because of the sky. So it's a good idea to go back to luminance, take it into Fresnel. As you can see, there's now this white thing around it, and change this color to just a bit of a blue, just tiny bit blue, and hit render. Oops, render. A bit too strong, so let's bring this brightness down to 0, and this down to maybe 29 and 28. There you go. See, now the snow has a bit of a blue tinge to it. Very nice. Now let's apply hair fur material. Let's also give it a bit of a bump map. Bump maps are generally great. You get some noise, you layer it on. Gaseous, let's scale it up. Hit render. Turn on bump. Hit render. There you go, already looking better. Okay, let's get our red hat material. Now for our red hat, let's move this guy over here. Let's change the color to Fresnel. Let's make this guy red. This guy also red, just a darker red. There you go. Let's add some bump, which will be noise. Keep it a regular noise, just let's change the scale down to like 20%. Now if we render this here, it's a bit too strong, so let's bring the noise down to like 6%. That looks much better. How nice does that hat material look? I think it's a bit too red though. So, and also, maybe this could use a bit of a, maybe make this a bit less saturated, just this one. Hit render. Make this one maybe a bit darker. There you go, that's nicer. I think it's a bit too saturated though. So let's click here, let's click layer, layer, click on it and go effect and hue saturation. Now you can just scroll the saturation down a bit and hit render. Lovely. We have a wonderful hat. Don't pay attention to the lighting too much right now. We're going to use global illumination to light this guy up. So, same thing for... Actually, you know what? The scarf right now to me looks a bit thin. So let's go into our scarf. Let's go double click on it with the move tool. Ooh, the axis is a lot. So let's go Shift C, center, axis 2. There we go. And it sends it to the polygons. Once again, if you don't have Shift C because you're in earlier versions, it's set Shift F12 and you type what you want here, center, axis 2. And then you can assign a shortcut to it. See, I have tilde4. Okay, so the scarf is too thin. I don't like it. So let's select all these top polygons and oops, and let's move them out a bit. That looks better. Let's get this edge loop here. Let's move that out a bit. And let's do the same with, let's go to model tool, move tool, double click on this one again. Axis again off, so tilde 4 or shift FC and center axis 2. Now let's go to polygon mode, again select, selection tool. By the way, you can switch between selection and move with your spacebar, or if it's whatever your last tool was, you can switch between it and the selection tool by hitting the spacebar. So, select all these top polygons, well, maybe not these because they're under the scarf. Actually, let's keep these out as well. Oops. And let's move them up. There we go. What's wrong with it today? S, come back. Okay, and let's select these bottom polygons. And let's move them in, down. Right now they're kind of floating. Okay, much better. And let's go to our point mode here. Let's get our brush, and let's just pull these guys down a bit so they're under the scarf there. And also move tool, model tool, double click, point mode, brush tool. Let's move this guy in. Oops. Still gonna move these guys down a bit. It's better. Move these guys out a bit. There we go. Okay, much better. Model tool, deselect everything. Okay, I'm much happier with this. So, mitts. Let's go blue material. Let's do the same thing with the scarf. Let's go to Fresnel. Let's make this material blue. Make this material. If you want, you can unclick it and then just control click, and you get the same blue material, and then just make it darker. There you go. And now if we hit render, some blue, nice blue Fresnel, so it's like furry. And just add some noise. What is it? Noise. Bump. Sorry, bump. And let's just, you can actually copy these channels. You can go to our cat material, right click, copy, mitt material, right click, paste. And we have the same noise there. Well, that's way too big here. I'll switch here to 20%, 5%. Maybe even less than that, 2%. Wonderful. Okay, carrot, same thing. If you notice, generally adding Fresnel to your colors is great. You go Fresnel, and you can even add, you can make it add, and you can just drag it down, and you just brighten up with the white color. It's very convenient, and it just gives all your materials a bit of a off color, so it's not just one plain color, it's gradients over. It's a very nice effect. Also, I notice here we have our gap. Our gap is a bit too big here, so whoa. Yes, we need to really work on this scarf. So let's get our scarf, double click, move tool, and let's go polygons, UL for loop selection, S to center it, scale, and let's scale them in. Maybe not that much, just a bit. And then let's go brush tool, and let's make sure we deselect everything, give it bigger, and move it in so it's a bit tighter around this. Okay, otherwise, you might get a cold. Don't want a sick snowman, do we? Okay, much better. And this bottom one too. Here you can go view, and you can go scroll to first active, and then you can just select bottom scarf. Also here you can double click, and it will automatically size this thing to the longest word. So let's stay out a bit. Just a bit of tweaking. Make it smaller. There we go, much better. Okay, so we've got the main materials, I think. Maybe for the wood sticks we can add some bump as well. Let's go noise, oops, noise, and let's make it something electric. And let's scale it on one scale out. So it's stretched, make it a bit smaller, make the color a bit darker. And let's hit render and see what happens. Oops. Render. No, you can't really see it. Wait, is it even right? Yeah, it is. Okay, let's make the bump width. Oops, wrong window. Yeah, there you go. Made it a bit stronger. Now you can see it's a bit of a wooden material. Maybe reduce it to like 30%. There you go. So now they're not so smooth. You have like some branching material. Okay, wonderful. Let's go Control B for render settings, which is here as well. Let's go turn on global. Hold on. Okay, let's get the render setup going. So, first things first, let's go Control B. Control B. Let's go Effect, Global Illumination. Let's go to IRQMC and Diffuse Depth to 2. Diffuse Depth is basically how many bounces the light makes. So here, if you go Show Help here, there's a helpful image. Basically, Diffuse Depth 1 means the illumination object with the luminance, it illuminates and that's it, and just hits an object and it stops. So for example, this back wall doesn't get it. Diffuse Depth of 3 means it hits the wall and it bounces once onto this wall. And 3 means it bounces once and then keeps on going to illuminate stuff. In our case, it means if we have a diffuse depth of 1, the light will hit the floor, but it won't bounce onto the snowman. Unless the floor is luminant, then it will, but our floor is not luminant. So with diffuse depth of 2, the light will hit the floor and bounce up to illuminate these dark areas underneath on the bottom side of the snowman. So generally, if you want realistic results with global illumination, you need at least diffuse depth of 2. So we've got that. Let's make it smaller and hit render. Now there's going to be a couple of problems. Firstly, we still haven't added the sky. We just added a background object. The white is way too white. And we have this fill light which we don't need if we're using GI. So let's turn off our fill light. Let's add a sky object. Sky object. Make sure it's the sky object, not the physical sky object. Let's add the flow material to the sky object since it's just white. And also right now you notice if we render, we will no longer be able to see our gradient from blue to white because the sky object is in front of the background. So what we do is we right click C4D tags and compositing tag. You should be able to just see the icon. It's just below collision detection. So click it, then go attributes and go scene by camera. Now if we hit render, we see our blue sky again. Yay! Okay, first problem. Generally, we could adjust the light to make everything darker, but the thing is, the only problem that I see is the snow is too white. I mean, I like the way the scarf looks, the way the hat looks. So let's get our snow material, when snow, and let's reduce the brightness to like 80% and hit render. It's getting there. Let's make it a bit lower, 75%. So better, down to around 70%. That seems about right. Let's make it bigger, render it again. Yeah, that's about what it is. Now, something I just saw here now is the head. I really want there to be a more defined edge here. See how there's shadow here? Here it's kind of too flush, which makes it look a bit unrealistic, but it bugs me. So let's go in and fix that. Let's go to our move tool, double click on this object, go to point mode, right click, brush mode, and make it a bit bigger. Let's just move these guys out a bit. A bit too much there. Okay, and let's hit render again. Already you can see it's much better there. Maybe still a bit more here. Okay, let's hit render one more time. That looks about like what we want. Good. Sweet. Okay, now material of his snow. I want it to be a bit more, a bit stronger. Let's see what we got. That's definitely not enough. And if we max it out, no, I want more of a snow effect. So let's make a access is going to this. Maybe there's a contrast. Yep, contrast. Let's go yank it up. Ooh, maybe that's not what we want. Yeah, no, it's not what we want. So let's go click this little button, click layer, click effects, contrast, and let's wake up the contrast. The brightness a bit more contrast. Okay, let's hit render, see what we get. Not really what I want. Oh, it's because we're adjusting the wrong material, of course. Let's undo all this. Yeah, let's get our snow material. Yeah, the bump, there you go, has layers. It's more like it. So, first let's rack up the bump to 100%, see what we get. It's better, but not quite what we want, so let's go effect, brightness, let's crank up the contrast, and hit render. Much better, yes. That is what I was after. Now, I think the specular might need a bit of adjustment. So maybe make the inner width a bit smaller and increase the width a bit. So it just looks a bit, so it looks a bit wetter. It's a bit more like snow and less like rock. And there you go, I like the more you can see here where it was. Maybe even crank up the contrast a bit more on that. Yes, that is much better. Okay, next we need to make a material for the eyes and for these black spots. So let's click on this thing, let's go displacement, let's pick noise, let's pick sub polygon, and let's scale this guy up, global scale to like, because these are made of coal or something, I don't know, but okay, now let's go here, we go render region, and just render the faces, see what it looks like. That's way too much, especially for the eyes. I mean, for the mouth. Yeah, way too much. So let's scale it down to maybe like 30%. That looks better. Yeah, just make everything a bit wonky. Also here you'll see the same thing. Oops. For some reason with some of these tools it refreshes. Good. That's what we want. Yes, just to make them a bit irregular. Now let's add maybe some reflection. Not sure why, but I think it will add a good effect. Scroll them down to like 2 or 7. Let's render the face here, see what it looks like. Yeah, that looks good. And the bottom with the buttons. Good. This is what we're looking for. Okay, so let's do a full render, see where we're at, see what we're missing. This is pretty good. I like this. Scarf's good. Maybe make the scarf a bit less saturated. Put out scarf material, color, make it a layer. Let's add an effect, hue saturation. Let's just scroll the saturation down just a bit. Maybe make it a bit darker too. Add some noise, bump, texture, noise. Let's make it nice and small noise. Global scale to like 15. Go down to like 7. So now let's just render region. That's much nicer. Okay. Do another render. Okay, I like this. I think we're going in the right direction. I mean, I think this is how a snowman's meant to look. Maybe make the snow a bit brighter, so I could do a man snow color. Crank it up to like 73. Hit render. Yeah, I like this. This is good. Okay, so we have our snowman. Let's move on to making some trees. Just one more render, just to make sure we got everything right. We got some material on the wood. We got some nice snow material. We got a nice scarf. Great. Our snowman is complete. Let's make some trees.